Good evening, everyone. It's Tom Sydney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from the Tom Numbers Show in association with Sight Club, and we're doing the new show, which is News with Tom Numbers. So this is the third day of the show, seeing how it's going, and if people are enjoying it, put comments on, join up on LinkedIn, what we're saying, locals. You'll get to see it first there, and it'll go out on YouTube as well, and put in all the comments. Thanks for all your beautiful comments about it so far. And here we are. So it's Wednesday, 26th of April 2023, and I've got my t-shirt on, as you can see. And I'm wearing an appropriate, it's almost like a utility wristwatch. Batman has a utility belt, but a wristwatch. So this is the cold laser wristwatch. It purifies your blood. It's from Mirrormate. Well, it's from Spooky 2 people, so John White. And you can get the Rife machine and the Scalar machines, which are bigger. But this is an example of their kit. It's very well made. So you've got the cold laser going into your bloodstream there. And if you can see there, you've also got different LEDs. You might see there's a green one there if I push the skin. Yeah, see, different coloured LEDs also doing stuff. So anyway, people might be wondering what that was, what this is. This is it. So today, let's see what's in the news today. So this is interesting. Yesterday I mentioned the 245, which is the pure love of Christ, currency revaluation. Thomas Sydney Bushnell, my full name, comes to 245. There was a code on that in the paper yesterday. And today we've got this. So, you see that? Let me dim that down, actually. That seems to be too bright. Let me take that down a little bit. How's that? Is that better? Yeah. Jaffa cake horror. So here in the UK, you've got Jaffa cakes, which is a sweet kind of orange, chocolatey cake. So the numbers on this are interesting. Jaffa cake horror. I mean, what's Jaffa cake horror really? So you can see this is all codes on the newspapers. So Jaffa cake horror comes to 136. So Jaffa's 24. That's the next year. That's when President Trump says the final battle will be in 2024. I've actually got a great show coming up with Ricky Lambert. I did last night, and that will be going out in the next day or so. He used to play for Liverpool. He's a soccer player, football player. Played for Southampton, the same team that Matt Letizia played for. Matt played earlier in his career. Well, Ricky and Matt are good friends, but they didn't play as teammates. But they played for the same club. Wore the same number 7. Number 7's 138, which is Donald Trump. 138 is revaluation. But number, NUMBER, comes to 73. That comes to children, comes to Egypt. It comes to a lot of things, but the word number is 73. There was actually a TV show over here called Number 73. I think they knew that number equaled 73. Because actually when you do number 73, that's 2 73s are 146, which is New Jerusalem, which is a Dove Time Machine, Ivanka Trump, Truth Social. They're all 146. But anyway, so Jaffa, 24. Cake is 20. Horror is 92. I think President Trump has mentioned things like horror show before, like, oh, it's a horror. But he's also coding as well, because 92 is reversed, so they're getting rid of the horror, they're reversing it. But Jaffa cake horror is 136, which is Great Awakening. There's also an actor I met back in Regent's Park a year or so ago called Simon Callow. He was in 4 weddings and a funeral, but his numbers come to 136 as well. And there's a link there with Kobe. I met Simon Callow at the same position, just as you go over the bridge over the water part in Regent's Park. Anyway, but if you do Jaffa cake horror, 136 plus Daily Star, so Daily Star is 109. Remember, 109 equals 17. When you spell the word 17, it comes to 109. 109 comes to witness. 109 comes to Site Club, my channel. 109 comes to Zapruder. 109 comes to a large number, trillion. President Trump talks about trillions. The Zim notes, trillion, $100 trillion Zim note, bond notes. But if you add those together, guess what it comes to? 245, which is the pure love of Christ, currency revaluation. How do I control the dream? If you think of the concept of simulation, the matrix, etc. But 245 comes to my full name, Thomas Sidney Bushnell. So it's quite cool when I keep getting these comms. So Daily Star, Jaffa Cake Horror, 245, Thomas Sidney Bushnell, and all the other codes with it. So it's nice to get those, and people are putting in the comments on locals. They're saying how they're getting into the numbers now. They're getting their own personal numbers, and that's the beauty of it. When you start to understand your own personal numbers, you'll start to see it becomes really exciting, and you'll start to see all these other numbers elsewhere, and other correlations, and on the big picture, and also on the macro and the micro level. They've shown another picture of a goat. So goat, you've got the phrase goat is greatest of all time. Goat is March, that was last month. Goat is 43 when you spell it G-O-A-T. Goat is book, it's wife, it's also Mark. I've done a lot of stuff recently with Mark Atwood and continue to do so, but I mention him in my videos because I did the great event in Ireland and Manchester with him. But goat is 43, so Mark, are you the goat? Are you the greatest of all time? I think Mark would like that. And then they highlight this word as well. So if you see this, they put dunking. Dunking, they're highlighting it. Dunking is in red. Red is 27 code. JFK is 27. A plus Z or Z. A is 1. 26 is Z or Z. Add them together is 27 again, which is code, which is all the gematria A through to Z. But dunking comes to 80. And if you add dunking plus goat, that comes to 123. 123 comes to Eric Trump, comes to Missouri. I mentioned yesterday, that's what it was. I mentioned yesterday about the Terminator that was mentioned on yesterday's code. It looks very much like Cyberdyne Systems. It's Bushnell binoculars, a great piece of tech. I was talking about the Bushnell binoculars. That's not Bushnell, but maybe I should start doing an endorsement with Bushnell binoculars. They have telescopes, rangefinders, but I went there, and it's in Missouri. And it's just over the other side from it's Kansas City. It's just over the other side from the Missouri side because it's a twin city. But Missouri, Kansas City is 245, which is the pure love of Christ, which is currency revaluation, Thomas Sidney Bushnell, Daily Star, Jaffa Cake Horror. So you can see how all this continually feeds upon itself, and it gets confirmed because I'm not writing the newspapers. Well, not that I'm aware of. Maybe there's another version of me, like in Back to the Future, that's doing it. But I'm not aware of it consciously. Me, as Tom here, as you see, I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not aware of how they're doing it or who's doing it. But it's fun, it's amazing, and it's an honor. Okay, so, but yeah, 123 is also silver plus gold. Silver is 85, awakening storm. Gold is 38, which is sand, which is ocean, which is fire, which is balance, which is change. Death as well. Death is a change. I've spoken about that recently in a recent video that you'll see. The show I did with Jason Shirker, I mentioned that. And I've mentioned 38, change, death, balance before. Yeah, you've got, where is it? Here it is. Here we go. Bear with me a second, I'm just trying to pull this up. Okay. Yeah. So also another thing that I saw today, regards to news, because you get the codes with the newspapers, and I get, I do the decodes with the numbers. But there was something else that came out, and this was on Twitter, and I'm on Twitter, so people can sign up and see me there. Real Tom Numbers on Twitter. But it flashed up, so I think I should mention it. But it was again emphasizing that Matt Hancock was talking about this conspiracy theory of Bill Gates and putting chips in people, i.e. because of all the medications. But it was there, featured in the Daily Mail, and it came up again, but it was mentioned, it was actually posted back at the beginning, I think the 6th or something like that of March, so last month. But somehow that was publicly released. He was joking about that, i.e. telling us, and then it's kind of got forgotten about again, because that shows the power of it, of the media, So that's why we've got to keep repeating and keep understanding the message, keep repeating the message of the good stuff, keep putting it out. And as you all are doing, so you're doing a great job, so keep reposting, keep sharing, keep doing it. And that's eventually, bit by bit, people will come and understand, and there will be a crescendo with all of this. But it's interesting that, because I knew he'd been talking about scaring the pants off of people. That was a famous part here in England with Matt Hancock. But I don't think I'd even heard that bit about when he'd actually referenced Bill Gates. That was it. He said Bill Gates owes him one. Matt Hancock, the former health secretary, says Bill Gates owes him one because of all the assistance of putting these chips in people. Are we talking about chips like food chips, or chips, and you've got Chips, the motorcycle people. Well, I mention these because we'll probably see reference of these not too long into the future with the newspapers, all these different versions of chips. But you get what I'm saying. Matt Hancock was saying that Bill Gates owes him one because he's helped assist and put all these chips in people. Are we talking potato chips or other kind of chips? Anyway, so I'll see you tomorrow for the news. I don't know what the papers are yet. I sometimes get to catch them late at night on Twitter on tomorrow's papers. I've linked it a couple of times so you can follow that and you'll see the papers. One thing that actually is interesting. So I did do a code on Robbie Williams. I had to go to the newsagents, take a picture of it. It's easier if I can get it online, but usually they show the Sun newspaper. Now the Sun is, I would say, probably the second tabloid for revealing the most. You've got the Star, which is the number one for it. Then you've got the Sun, you've got the Mirror, and they're all the red tabloids. Then you've got the Express and the Mail. And the Mail puts a lot of stuff out. Even the Telegraph was doing a lot with the Hancock stuff last month. But for some reason, in the last few days, they've not been showing the Sun. Now, I'm wondering about that. I don't study or who owns all the media stuff, but from my understanding, and I might be correct on this, but my understanding is that Rupert Murdoch, and I did a piece on Rupert Murdoch not long ago. I was posting videos of him and President Trump, and I was saying that how Rupert Murdoch is doing what Trump wants him to do now. But this is the narrative, it's a complex movie that we're watching. It's a James Bond spy thriller, saving the world, galactic, all into one. Anyway, so so they're on this tomorrow's papers, the Twitter page, the Twitter channel, Twitter feed. You get to see all the English front of the newspapers, most of them. And they usually show the Sun, but the Sun, and also the Sun. So Sun is 54, which is love, which is orbs. The Sun is 87, which is truth, justice, junior. So it's important. Stellar as well, galactic stuff. Most of it's in the Star, but the Sun also. Anyway, I think I'm correct in thinking that, is it News Corp that Rupert Murdoch's got? Anyway, I think the Sun is affiliate. I think the Sun is owned by Rupert Murdoch, and he owns Fox, if I understand rightly, Fox News. And we know that Tucker Carlson just left. So the other thing that's interesting with that, though, and I've not had a chance to speak to you about it, but I will do, is there's news saying that Roseanne has now got a show on Fox, so she's going to be a rival to the other networks with the daytime chat shows. She should be able to take out, you know, you've got Whoopi Goldberg and all those other girls, people doing their shows, and she was kind of hammered by some of them. But that's with Fox. So it's interesting because the whole thing with Fox, what's happening? So Roseanne is being brought in, have a rival show which will, you know, get top ratings. President Trump has criticised Fox in the past, but it appears to be the kind of most pro kind of Trump channel, but they still don't do it 100%. But then Tucker was red pilling a lot of people. Now he's left. Roseanne it's not been confirmed when she'll start the contract, but they say that it's been done or is about to be done. And then the Sun newspaper is not being shown on this Twitter feed of tomorrow's papers, which I find curious because I'm like, well, it'd be easier if I could see it instead of having to go to the news agents and find it. Yeah, I wonder. Maybe they'll show them again tomorrow. Sometimes they do that with some of the papers. Sometimes you can't find them, and I don't know why though. But the Sun is a big one, so it's curious that sometimes they show the front of the paper and sometimes they don't. But this one was about Robbie Williams, and it was saying he's stopping having sex or something like that. Well, it was that, but I say in terms of something like that, something to that effect, the wordage of it. And this thing about him and his wife, and he's not taking testosterone, and she offers it to him, and he just kind of was like, you know, not bothered. So that was the main front page of the Sun. Maybe that's why they didn't put it in, I don't know, but there was some codes on there as well. But I'm curious to why they're not showing the Sun, which is connected with Murdoch, as far as I know. They've got the whole change at Fox. So I don't know, are we going to see something with Murdoch, with Fox, with the Sun here in England? Are we going to see a lot of stuff with it? I don't know, who knows? Anyway, we will find out, because every day it's something new. So, all right, everyone. God bless. I've got 6 minutes left on my cold laser wrist watch. Yeah, it makes me feel like Batman. And it purifies your blood. So the links will be there, particularly on my YouTube. You'll be able to see the links in all the descriptions below. You can get your Rife machines, your Mirrormate cold laser wristwatch, and your Spooky 2 Rife machine and scale up machine. All right, everyone. God bless. It's been a long day, but well, yesterday was a long day. Today is late, so I will say thank you. God bless you. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Thanks, everyone. God bless. Bye.